It was. Maybe we'll go back to it later.
Yeah, maybe offline or off a public forum. Okay, the principals are up. Jan won again, so Jan's number one. Gary, then Pauline.
Oh, I think Pauline came on before I did.
Oh, it was a close one.
Yeah, close.
Let's give it to Pauline. Beauty before age.
All right, and then Stan and Julie, and I'll just pick if anyone else has come in. Carly.
Hey, Carly.
Carly, you can come after Julie in the principals, and I'll come after that. And you come over here. Ready, set, go. Jan.
The purpose of the mastermind is to learn leadership, build teams, and create multiple sources of income together.
We are here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
Each member is committed to their own success as well as the success of every member of the group.
We are committed to meeting in person or virtually for 1 hour every week.
Is it me now?
Yes, Julie, yes.
We are present. There is no multitasking or distraction during meetings.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
I forgot Stan.
No. Stan.
I did number 4.
Yeah. Your turn, Jan.
Me?
Yes.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
Pauline.
We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We are open and we listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
We are focused, but we also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
We are real and authentic. This is a no BS zone.
We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces, one mind, one soul, one love.
Noble Goldman International is a conscious, aware, and engaged global community of abundance and freedom creators.
Our mission is to create 1 million millionaires who are free from the time for money paradigm. We focus on creating multiple streams of income through masterminding, team building, and the effective utilization of the internet-based platforms.
The masterminds become an opportunity for self-mastery, where the self-transcendent shift from the me to the we to the us occurs. As the congruence and engagement increases, the world's consciousness is then raised one meaningful and inspired relationship at a time.
What are you laughing at, Stan?
I saw one yesterday where there's 2 cactuses talking, and one cactus says, "So I means me, and then us means us, but in cacti, cactus means I, and cacti means many." And then I was reading that one, and then I was like laughing because it was coming back.
Good thing we're not cacti then.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh dear. The theme for today, we're coming back to values again because they're so important to everything we do. And yeah, Carly and I had a great session on the weekend about that. And it tends to come up pretty much every time, where you can have a list of 20 or 30, and as you go through them and if you contrast them, and then all the meaning that you thought it had, because you've just rattled off all these great names that you like, suddenly it's got a different meaning, and it's not exactly what you intended. So you may come up with a different word, or you may combine some words. So I think the actual process of analysing your values and coming up with definitions for the word for you is so important. So yeah, I just wanted to touch base on what people thought about. Do they have their values, a list of values? Do they have a mission statement for their values? Do they, do you check in with them every day when you make a decision? So yeah, I'd love to hear people's thoughts on that.
I'll start rattling off some stuff here, V, because I think it's important that we actually take values way, way, way more seriously. I had a conversation, I had this emergency phone call from a coaching client of mine from California. And she said, Gary, I'm just like so confused right now. She's leaving a pretty abusive relationship that she's been in a marriage with for quite some time. And she's already met someone else and she's interested in that. And she was like, but my husband's being so kind to me and so nice to me. And he says all the things I've always wanted to hear. And I'm like, okay. And she said, but he told me that if I have intimacy with anybody else, the marriage is over, divorce on that day. Then the guy that she's interested in said, if you go back to your husband or if you have sex with your husband, the relationship's over. And I said to her, what do you want? And she said, I want to not be controlled by anyone. And I was like, awesome. And who's controlling you now? She said, well, all these men have all these conditions on me with consequences. And so I really am controlled. If I commit to anyone, I'm going to be controlled by that person. And I said, yes. And if they keep you in a relationship based upon control, do you think that that control will show up in multitudes of other scenarios later on in the relationship? She goes, absolutely. I said, what do you want? She said, I actually want freedom. I said, do you want freedom more than you want security? And she thought for a long time and said, yes, I want freedom more than I want security. And I said, okay, go down to the beach, sit there, project out into the future 5 years from today in a relationship with one or the other of these men, or actually take a very strong path forward into who you need to be in this next cycle of your life, having just turned 50. And she said, can't you tell me what to do? And I said, no, I cannot. Because it's not my job to tell you what to do. It's your job to discover the pathway forward. And so that's what she's done. But I stepped back and I thought, she had a values conflict. The values conflict was she didn't want to be inconvenienced. She wanted to move. She wanted to have the security of having double income in her house. She didn't want to be the sole person responsible for her own success and her own money. She wanted a cushion, security, and stability more than she wanted her freedom. And that was the values conflict. So in that values conflict, what happens is, and Jules, can you mute yourself, darling? Because when you move around, it makes all kinds of noise. Thank you, sweetie. So what happens then is as she kind of looks at this values conflict, one of the big issues is that the values conflict was between freedom and security and stability, which made her completely stuck. And because she wanted both, I had to have her really sit down and analyze which is more important to you in the long game of your life. Which one's more important to you? Your integrity, your freedom, or your stability and entrapment? Which ones? So I have no idea what she's going to choose. She may choose either, but this happens over and over and over with every one of us. When we have a real conflict, it's based upon a values conflict that we want this, but if we want this, we sacrifice this. And oftentimes it's the values conflict that makes it so challenging for us. This is why when we're very clear on our values, the decisions we make and have to make become far more far more clear. One of the things that I've oftentimes discovered when doing values with clients is that clients will not often think through how the values are interdependent with each other. So let's say someone has a high value on integrity, but determination didn't even make it onto their top 10 list of values. And I like to question them, and I'll say, look, and the reason I'm doing this is because I have a little bit of pet peeve with the value of determination, because I think it's one of the most valuable values that there is. I said, does integrity take determination? They go, yes. I say, does love take determination? And believe it or not, it does. Does peace take determination? Yes. Almost all the values are actualized through the internal quality of determination. If we do not have determination, nothing else manifests. And what happens for most of us is most of us have we're soft in determination. For me, I'm getting ready to move to another state outside of Texas. I always have an apartment here, but I'm ready to move outside to Arkansas, which is a state I thought I would never live in, but I'm getting ready to move there for multiple reasons, all of which are good, and it's going to be great. But I was super resistant. And then because there's not a lot of business in Arkansas, like especially the kind of work I'm doing currently, there's just not a lot of business there. It's not known, Arkansas is not known for its business climate. But I told one person I was moving to Arkansas, and they went, oh my God, what for? I was like, well, there's going to be the reaction. And what I decided was that determination, I can make anything happen if I'm determined. If I seek out how to do business virtually, how to network virtually, what I have to do to get exposure to multiple companies virtually, what do I have to do? So I began that search, and I found this incredible national networking group of high-level executives in multiple companies that I get on. I've had like 5 one-on-ones with high-level people in big companies of like 15,000 employees, which is exactly where I want to start landing. And it's been awesome. So the thing I want to say is, without determination, nothing happens. When we get up in the morning, what do we want to do? What do we want to accomplish that morning? I mean, our breaths are ridiculously precious. I turned 70 in August. The clock is ticking. I'm thinking to myself, I have to be radically determined to get to that place that I know I'm going to land on. I have to be radically determined, like relentlessly determined, not in a manic or nothing that is fueled by fear, but fueled by the desire to accomplish, fueled by the desire to contribute. If we can do our lives from a higher level of determination, then anything becomes possible for us. Now, I am a radically firm believer in that. I had a little minor miracle I'll share with you out of determination. I decided to sell one of my cars, the car I was driving. I've been without a car for about 3 months now. Robert's got a car, so that works. But I wanted a Tesla. So I went and I ordered one. And then I thought, oh no, it's too much money. I'm not going to get it. We're moving to a new place. I don't know what the business is going to be like. I don't want to do it. And so Robert went and looked for cars for me, as he does, found a few. They were pretty close to the price of a Tesla. We started looking at a used Tesla, and we found the most miraculous deal that I decided I was determined to do that, and that I wasn't going to let scarcity stand in my way. And so we have now done that. And I have to say that when you set your mind on a focus or any idea that you want to accomplish, if you do not allow fear to come in and completely sabotage it, then what happens is that you begin to start moving. Things start to just show up that you have the capacity to go and actually make that thing happen because opportunities and doors start to open. Fear is the creation killer. And if I do not allow the fear to control me, because I absolutely can, Pauline has seen it a number of times, where I just allowed the fear to control me. If I don't let that come in, then I start to have this greater capacity to be aligned to my values and then create what it is that I desire to build. So I just want to share that. I just think that it's, at this point in time, at least for me, I'll just speak for myself. At this point in time, it is vitally important that I do my utmost to get out there and be the powerful force for good I know I can be, and not allow fear to overwhelm me. And V was witness to me getting all my videos, like 45 of them that I did, on a 63-page manual off to Noble Goldman for Mark to start loading that up and creating the online Creating Incredible Relationships training, which is blissfully, ridiculously good. And then I talked to a friend of mine who does all my editing and videography when I'm here in the States. And he's also an incredible marketer. And he's going to load that up on a platform that has 1 million followers on that platform. So the word's going to get out there. It's going to be awesome. My biggest fear was too many people are going to see me, and too many people are crazy, and I don't want that attention coming my way. Crazy people finding me somehow. I've had enough of it. But now I'm like, I don't care anymore. You know, crazy or not, I'm going to get that out there and be seen finally. So I'm doing that. So my value was contribution, because it's one of my highest values. And I have to say, and a lot of because of E, I broke through that. And now a lot of stuff's going to get out there that's very intimate and very personal to me. And it's going to be all about helping people stop suffering in relationships.
Gary, since
Yes.
you've taken a breath, say hi to Daryl.
Daryl! I can't see your big, beautiful, shiny face, brother. Where are you? There you are. Damn, child. It is so good to see you.
It's good to see you.
You look as handsome as ever. You doing good?
I'm good, you know, but I'm one of those crazy people. I thought I was going to have to leave. So.
No, you're not that kind of crazy.
Hopefully not. Good to see you too, Gary. Yeah, it's been a long
It's really
time.
good to see you. Yeah, I'm just really, really happy to see some of the old team.
Yeah.
First. It's really good.
Daryl, you might know Pauline. Do you know Pauline?
Pauline.
Yes.
I know Pauline
I
well.
never
Yeah.
met him. Hi, Daryl. It was lovely to see you on there.
But Daryl, can you tell us a little bit about yourself for everybody else who hasn't met you yet?
Yeah, look, I'm part of. I met Gary about 20 years ago, I think.
We go way
often,
back.
yeah, we do. I often think back to those times we spent together, Gary. You're such a incredible part of my life, and it was just an honour to sit in a circle with you, and the wisdom and the mentorship that you gave me at a time of my life when I really needed it. So you're a long lost brother to me. It's so beautiful to see you today. And yeah, we shared some very special times, and I think Pauline was there back then. And but look, I guess for everyone else, I'm a freelance cinematographer, video producer living here in Perth.
Incredible, by the way, to everyone. Like the best I have ever seen.
So yeah, it's been a crazy ride. I'm just about to launch a new business, but maybe I'll talk about that another time. I've spent most of my life traveling the world as a cinematographer, and I guess more recently, when I turned 50, I wrote a book about fatherhood that did unexpectedly well, and that sort of took me on a side trajectory where I was giving talks about fatherhood and raising boys, and now, since that all happened, I've now helped run and lead men's 3-day workshops, pretty intense stuff for guys who are in the trenches and struggling, and I've got some beautiful friends around me, and we lead these workshops a couple of times a year, 3-day intense men's initiation weekends, and I also lead father and son rites of passage weekends as well. It's all voluntary stuff, but you know, as Gary said, one of his highest values is contribution, and that certainly rubbed off on me. And yeah, so I've been married for 27 years last week. 2 young boys who are now 20 and 21, Gary.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're beautiful boys, and so life's good. You know, we're in lockdown over here, so all my jobs just got cancelled for the next week. So, you know, I'm still on the challenge of recreating myself, and every day I get hired to do a shoot, I'm grateful that someone thinks that there's some value in what I do. So I live with gratitude as much as I can, and that's about it. So it's good to see everyone's face. Good to meet you, Julie, Stan, Kaylee as well. So yeah, happy times. Thank you.
If you ever need videography done or promotional videos done or anything like that, literally Daryl is the man. He is so talented. It's overwhelming to me anyways, how good of a production that you do, my friend. And the work that you're doing around fatherhood, I think, is priceless work. And so many men are wounded in the arena of parenting that, you know, what you're doing is saving generations. So just hats off to you, Daryl. You're doing some awesome stuff. There'll be a special place in heaven for you, brother.
Sitting next to you.
Well, gang, does anyone else want to share anything about values, how you have faced either values conflict in your life and how you broke through that, or anything else that you have about leading a value-driven life? And if not, you run the risk of me talking more, so I would jump at the chance.
I'm happy to share then.
Go, go for it, Polly.
I guess I'll go back. I'll go back to the fact that I always say I came into this world very fortunate to have 2 loving parents and have had an amazing life. And what I have learnt over those years is to stand in my power. And that power has come from so many varied experiences where I am consistently reminded that I know what I know, insofar as from my own experience. So, and some of that has come from a power that I have no explanation for, but I guess my greatest example of it was when I was pregnant with my first child, and I just knew that I was going to be absolutely safe giving birth to that child at home. So that meant there was only ever going to be my husband and I. There was never going to be a doctor. In fact, I didn't go to a doctor throughout the pregnancy. No, I did. I did go to him and I said, listen, I don't think I've got any need to come and see you. If at any time I think I need to, I will. But I'm the one that knows what's going on in my body. I don't need you. And so I went through that pregnancy. And during that time, there was a gentleman here in Perth by the name of Bill McRae, who was a psychologist, and my late husband and I were going to courses with him every Monday evening. And in those courses, I guess I gained my strength, or I learned to understand myself greater. And during that time, while I was pregnant, he passed. And at his funeral, I remember looking around at all of the faces, so upset, so distressed, so lost. And I stood there feeling I'm not lost, because everything that Bill has taught me over time, which I took into my experience and, you know, used the things that were true for me. I have all of that. And I was in a space which just said, yeah, I know what I know. So the day came, the baby was born. It had 5 little fingers and 5 little toes on all the appropriate little limbs. We did ring the doctor and let him know, and it was very fortunate afterwards to find out that had he known when I'd gone into labour, he actually intended to land up at the door with a gynecologist, because I didn't know what I was doing and I was very stupid. So thank goodness I was guided to go through things the way I did. But the strength of that, and then the strength of when I had my second child, the knowing of being so close to my creator at that point has given me a strength that I call on whenever I need it. And that gets me through. It's as though I go within, I am able to determine what is the truth for me, not for anyone else, but for me. And I use that and I call on that as my strength. I can be respectful at that point to other people's points of view. I can be respectful that they may be on a different path to me, but I hold my truth for me. And that has been something which I have called on so many times over my life. I would say, Gary, that in my learnings with you over the years, it has, you know, not improved it, but it has compounded it to even give me more strength in what I do and the way I choose to do it. So I love to spend my time contributing, and I do that often. I'm sort of found myself caught in an interesting little project going on right this moment. And it's really interesting when people say things on the side and you think, where did they get that from? And I don't go into fear.
You know, Pauline, I think what you shared is really powerful from the perspective that when I condense it down, it really comes down to this one thing. You know, when we really have a value on spirituality, and we look at Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, or we look at Gregory Bateson's work on logical levels, you know, the very top human need where all the change is actually made in behaviors and in identity and beliefs and values and capabilities, it always is spirituality. It's almost like the higher logical level you go to, and make a change there, everything else underneath it begins to shift and change. I know other people on the call tonight, which I'd love to hear from, can make a testament about that. When you have a spiritual foundation, and I don't mean religion, because as far as I'm concerned, religion is not spirituality. But when you have a spiritual foundation for your life, when you have a connection to whatever this creative force is, there is this incredibly powerful sense of okayness. Robert always has this very simple, very beautiful thing he will say to me when I go, well, what if, and what if, and what if? He'll go, everything is always going to be okay. And I'm like, you're right. It always will be. And it becomes one of these places where I think everyone, in their own way, whatever their relationship is to whatever they think this creator is for themselves, create a dynamic, not a static, but a dynamic relationship with it, a daily practice of however you choose to do that. And it will become I think, the anchor and the sheetrock of what grounds us all as we go through turbulent times, because there are turbulent times ahead. And I think that it is vitally important, if anything. I think the lockdowns and the coronavirus aspects that have affected the world has been like a year-long vision quest for most of us. We've had to go internal. We've had to adapt. We've had to seek answers from someplace inside of us. We've had to have less distractions from the outside activities of the world. We've had to still ourselves more and stop ourselves more than I think we've ever had to before. And I think that that is a good thing from the perspective that we have to become more introspective than externally active. So I'd like to hand over to someone else to speak about how, because for you, Pauline, spirituality is a super high value, as it is with me as well. And I'd just like to hand it over to other people to see what values you feel that you have, actualized and taken upon yourself and have a daily engagement with. What values are actually fueling your ability to navigate the complexities of your life? Would anybody else like to share? Don't make me call on people, because I'm like that. I'll do that. Callie, go for it.
Julie's unmuted. Off you go.
Oh, Julie, you want to, and then we'll go to
It was a race.
I didn't open my mouth yet, though. Which is great. I've had a real couple of days. I'm up halfway up the country and staying with some lovely old friends and relatives, really, but not blood relatives. And I needed to get away from the family influence for a bit, and the difficulties that my son's facing. He's got his new business, and I could sort of feel that the next thing that was coming. And he and I have always had a very unhealthy relationship with regards to scarcity of money, and him borrowing money and never paying it back, and this has been going on for years. So, and of course he's in a position where the weather was terrible and he's run out of money, and he's new in the business, and I could feel it, and I thought, yeah, here it comes, it's going to come. And I have no spare money to be doing anything with that. And so this became a huge values collision for me, because I had decided that this was not going to happen anymore, and because there was just everything ringing, this isn't the right direction. So I did that, and of course he's absolutely furious, and all the bad behaviours reared its head, but he's been silent, actually. But again, and it was a bit difficult to start with, but then I just became resolved that this is not the way to do things. It is not a healthy, you know, his father's dying as well, so we've got all the
Jules,
sorry, but all the violins, all the violins.
Can you share with us what is the value that's guiding you?
It's a very good integrity, I think. Integrity and, well, the respect comes into it actually a little bit too. You know, it's
So respect for self or respect for others? Which one?
both.
Great, because it's the values that's going to help you navigate through this. Because otherwise we get lost in the narrative of it all, because there's always lots and lots and lots of these things as we interact, especially with blood family. It becomes much more complicated and confusing when we begin to start turning our mind toward where and what values are going to guide me through this. So if it's your integrity and if it is your respect, then that begins to become the emotional anchor that guides all your interactions, all your decisions, and then all your conversations can be guided by respect and integrity. Then that
And I'm just in listening
story so much.
Just listening to you now, underlying those two is love, you know, and the love must govern what happens, you know.
But do you see how simple it can become rather than the rest of it? Because if we come back to values and allow values to guide our conversations, our intentions, our interactions with others, and most of us have very complicated relationships with people, but if we allow that to guide us, what happens is that we become stronger. Our self-esteem begins to grow, because when we're in alignment with our values, our sense of self-worth rises. And success, the depth of success that comes to you is based upon your feelings of worthiness.
Yeah, self-love came very, very strongly.
And being in alignment to those values, that actually is the secret to how we actually step out of the drama triangle and step into the empowerment triangle and the creative triangle.
It wasn't easy. It's the old bits. That's just what I really wanted to share with. They came back up, and I thought, am I being ungenerous? Am I being, because you know he was asking for a loan, but you know in the past the loans have never come back. And I know the repetitive strategy and methodology. And it's not going to help. It's because it's coming from a really poor me. It's coming from a scarcity.
Yeah.
It's coming from everything's happening, you know, at the bottom of our little, everything happens to me. Why is it keeping happening to me? And also the behavior when I would say, well, maybe you could look at that, you know, maybe you're doing something that's the same thing over and over. And then the fury came up, and you know, he gets abusive.
But if you allow your values to guide you, Jules, you'll be able to navigate through that far, far, far more successfully than not. So focus, my dear, on those. And you mentioned love, integrity, and respect. Focus on those three, and in your conversations, speak from those values. That's the only way. And I want you to really hear this. It's the only way to minimize the hurt, to minimize the confusion and the upset. It's the only way. Speaking about it will get you so far, but then when you act and engage from your values, that is exactly what would begin to make it heal. Without that, there is no healing. There's just ongoing drama. So speak from that, and if you could share what that is once you've done that with us next week, that would be awesome. But do that first, and then see what the results are.
Yeah, well, I haven't. This was about 3 nights ago, so I haven't communicated since. And
Now you have time to think about how you will communicate to him.
Yeah, and every time I think about even thinking of doing what he's demanding, I just get this nausea in my tummy. Nah, not going there. You know?
No, don't. Just think about what I've said, and perhaps
as a
that.
mother, you can see this in your children. You can see it, and you want to support.
I
you know. And the thing is, but the support must be the right kind of support that's going to, you know, not lead him down the same path again, because he did this years ago and lost his business, you know, and he keeps losing things. So this needs to shift, but, you know, it'll have to come more from silence and me looking after me. And I actually mentioned that to him, and I said, look, I love you so much, but I tell you what, I love myself more. You know, and that did, because he was nowhere near ready to hear that. You know, he thought that was
again, I'll come back to Jules. Speak to him from your values, and go from there. That's going to be the one.
Yeah, but we give it some time first.
Absolutely, absolutely. Callie, you want to go for it, darling?
Yeah. What's the question? No.
How are you navigating through life by living through your values?
I think I've always been living through my values, but when I did the thing with V, when I say I've always been living it, I've always wanted to and had that essence of it, but obviously not perfect. Like, you know, you've got those wounds, and then, well, I have, and then you have those values, and then you're fighting against your own inner compass, because when you follow your values, you are seen and heard. And I was bullied for so long that to be seen and heard was a scary place. So once again, the fear came in. Even though I internally was following my values, I wasn't expressing them in the world in full contribution, because that would mean I'd be seen and heard. Like that would mean I'm walking the earth as God, or whatever you want to call it. If I'm in my full values, then seen and heard. And I was bullied. So hello, no one seems to give a damn about how I'm God in a body. All they care about is, am I doing what they want?
Welcome to the three-dimensional physical world, darling.
Exactly. So all I'm saying to that is, in all of that, one of my values is self-acceptance. So and discernment. And me and V went through it, and we came, for me, unconditional love is all those things anyways. Like all of those things comes back to me loving myself unconditionally, which is God. Like I was in a situation where my teacher was about 500 meters away from me in a different building, and then there was a road between us, and I was at dinner with the family. And this particular family member doesn't appreciate fully my gifts. They've always been a bit judgmental and didn't want to know about it. And so I had to be fully surrendered at this function and in their space. And the lady that is my teacher, her unconditional love came through the building, wrapped around my heart, and instantly transformed me into just unconditional love at that function. And I could feel it. I could feel the other person who's a bit of a spiritual guru, the unconditional love just hit me, wrapped me. I surrendered, and I just was unconditional love for this person who was slightly not there yet. And so I had to surrender that. I had to be the bigger person, and through that just accept myself for who I am and walk that moment as me. Like forget what they think of me, forget what they see of me, don't worry about what they don't appreciate, like just fully self-acceptance. And so I could do that because of the unconditional love from this guru across the road, who happened to be on an event at the same time I was, but in different buildings in the same suburb. Like how ironic for me to have that visceral experience.
Could I offer you a bit of a language reframe?
Yeah.
What that guru did was remind you of what you've always been.
Yeah,
She didn't give it to you. She reminded you of what you are already.
Yeah. And I know that, but that's why I'm saying about those moments as in our physical body where we have the mirror of other people pressing our buttons and we've got to surrender back to who we are.
Yeah.
Self-acceptance is one of my core values. Unconditional
awesome.
love.
So
Peace is why I'm on the earth.
Those three then are the ones that actually guide you in most of the challenges that you face in life. And peace, self-acceptance, and unconditional love.
Yeah. And then discernment, because judgment was huge growing up with being bullied and huge in my family. Like, you know, one week I was fat to my mother's eyes, the next week I was skinny. Like I couldn't win, you know what I mean? Like, so it was a constant judgment battle, but me judging myself that judgment wasn't okay, when realistically judgment's just a discernment gone a little over. And so back to my discernment is okay. My judgment is okay because it keeps me safe. Like self-acceptance, once again, comes into that.
Yeah, it does, totally. So when you look into the future and you look at aligning your future responses to those 3 to 4 or 5 values, I'm sure that you see then a greater pathway to peace, a sustainable peace.
Oh yeah, it's all internal. There's nothing outside of me.
Absolutely.
Like I can blame V for not being peaceful around me, but it's nothing to do with her. It's all me. I take full responsibility. It's all me. I'm in my mastery suit learning how to do that, learning how to accept myself in every moment.
I agree.
So that I can stand here like you are, being in full service, in full contribution to humanity. It's no, you know, what other reason to be here? I want to be in full contribution.
Thank you for that, Kelly. V, I just feel really pulled to ask you about what values you're guiding your life from and how you're navigating according to those values.
Yes, I've got my little statement. I could share it with you.
Do it.
My integrity ensures that my spirituality shines through my life, blessing me with optimal health and complete freedom.
Awesome. Which value do you utilize, do you feel most frequently in your business and personal life?
Integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carolee, do you mind sharing anything about what value you feel serves you the best to stay focused on in your life?
Love.
Beautiful.
I think everything comes back to love. And I'm a massive work in progress. I've just got a lot of things to make peace with.
You just have a lot of things you're going to love these days, don't you?
I try. Yeah, I'm working on it. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. And my greatest nemesis, Jan, who beats me to the calls every week. What is the value that's guiding you the most?
I've been, while everybody's talking, thinking about what my statement was, and I think it's my spirituality that is coming through more. But I'll read what my statement is accepting financial freedom with humour and wisdom to assist in me to communicate my spirituality.
Awesome. Daryl, my friend, what is the value or values that are guiding you in the opportunities you're facing in your life?
You're muted. Daryl, mute.
Thanks,
Sorry
buddy.
about that. Welcome back. Yeah, look, good question, Gary. My number one value that's guiding me, which is a good question, what's guiding me, is gratitude. Particularly in the pursuit of financial freedom, which I've heard mentioned here. Gratitude for where I am while I take massive action towards where I want to be. And it's the gratitude that gets me over those rough hurdles and those moments of doubt, and when the fear comes that's been mentioned, and and just gratitude that I've got the love of my beautiful wife and 2 healthy children, and that I get to do what I love most of my life. And yeah, just really grateful for the people in my life, and that I get to live in this beautiful city, and that I've got so many wonderful people in my life. So gratitude is the thing that gets me through the fear and the doubt and the challenges, and it works pretty well, actually, Gary. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Thank you, my friend. Stan the man. What's the value, my friend, that you feel guides you most of the time in your life, navigating through the hills and valleys of all your adventures?
Well, one of mine would be adventure. So I kind of, funnily enough, had this question last night, and they were like, how are your values coming in your new course? And I'm like, let's see. My values are fun, adventure, curiosity, empowerment, and resourcefulness. And I said, well, they're all in the course, because we definitely have fun in the course. We go on a big adventure to learn stuff, and we get curious about what's in behind it. And it's all about empowerment. And then I get resourceful to figure out stuff, how to go.
So you must be very happy in that course.
Exactly.
Awesome, Stan. Your smile's a little infectious, my friend. I really love you and your happiness.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Let's see, who have we not spoken to?
Everyone's got to say.
I think we've all spoken.
Yes.
Probably I haven't spoken yet, at least about this subject. It's funny because surrender isn't in my values necessarily. I think it's under the umbrella value of spirituality. But I find as I continue in life that there is a certain beauty in surrendering over the ultimate outcome of my existence over to a higher power and simply say, use me. And surrender generally has a negative connotation to it. In this interpretation I have in me, it's like being a log in a river moving towards the ocean. And rather than fight the current to the ocean, that sort of ultimate oneness of all things, it's I just want to be in the river and float towards the ocean without causing too many ripples or blockages in the stream. I remember when I was in India, I said to the master, I said, I don't want to go back. Can I just stay here in the Punjab with you? And can I just live here at the ashram? Because I don't want to go back to the States. And he said, brother, your karma is not here. Your karma, the destiny that you are meant to live, is in the United States. And he said, you must go back and you must have the courage to face your destiny. I always remembered that. And I still think about it today at the end of my meditations. You know, I always ask for that kind of courage to face my destiny with joy, and to embrace the changes that come to me with joy, and to do it courageously and to have courage in it. And since I've been asking for that, lo and behold, I have had more of it. And as a consequence, it's turned into one of the things that brings me the most peace, is to have no fear of what is coming, no concern about what has been, and do my very best to simply surrender into the state of knowing that all things past, present, and to come are gently planned by one who unconditionally loves me. And that brings me a tremendous amount of courage. So I want to just offer that up And oh, I have a movie recommendation for each and every one of you. So I know it's kind of out of the blue and I'm squirreling right now, but I do need to tell you this movie is transformative. If you've not watched Cloud Atlas, watch it. It is a movie that depicts, in my opinion, the truth of the universe and of every soul on this planet. I've had to watch it 5 or 6 times to finally kind of get it. But it is a phenomenal movie. It stars Halle Berry and that he's a super famous actor, and I can't think of his name right now. But it's a tremendously transformative movie. So do yourself a big favor and watch that movie, Cloud Atlas. I think it's one of the most advanced movies that has ever been produced. Matrix was pretty good, but Cloud Atlas is a little bit better. So I would definitely watch it. Let's end our night tonight with a word we'd like to leave with the rest of the group to ponder. And we will then pick up where we have left off today next week. So V, your bright shiny face is my full screen right now. So I'm thinking you get to go first.
Choice is my power.
Nice. Daryl.
Curiosity.
Beautiful. Jan.
Emanation.
Nice. Caroline.
Love. Stan
the man.
My word would be joy, and I'm joyfully going to do my tax today.
Oh, I wish I was there to participate in such a joyful experience, Stan. Pauline.
You're muted.
Sorry. Grow.
Nice. Julie.
Self-love.
Thanks, darling. Jan?
I said determination.
Oh, that's right. Callie?
Acceptance.
And my word would be surrender. So, gang, I will see you guys. Me and V will be on it. V will come up with something as miraculous as she always does on Monday night, and then email me, and then we will be set for Tuesday. So thank you so much for coming. Daryl, it was truly a blessing to see you, my brother. And I will see you guys again next Tuesday. So stay in the flow. God bless you. We'll talk to you then.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.